Again, thank you for joining us on our weekly Thursday show on Good Morning Enid on this Thursday, March 2nd. Two of my favorite people, and I said that earlier, forgive me, but repeating myself, but seriously, they are Louise and George Milacek next to me.
Morning, Steve.
Morning, folks.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
We're
Dark
glad to
30,
be here.
dark 30 this
Yes.
morning.
Yes,
They
it
got
was.
up.
Bright and early.
I mean, they were here waiting for us to wake up. You know, I like that. You know, early is good. Well, we want to spend time talking about flowers, spring, warmer weather, and all this stuff. And these two, they know it all. We've had the privilege to do a few shows together. Last fall, I think we did a tour of Dillingham Gardens, as you can see on the Enid television network. So Louise is our perennial expert, okay, right?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, would you say yes?
I do garden. I do
Yes.
garden.
Okay.
I cultivate my garden, but my garden cultivates me.
Well,
yes.
let's talk a little bit about, okay, we had a warm February, but let's talk about, sometimes we think about planting trees in the fall and stuff like that, but what could be planted right now before spring and summer really kicks in?
This is a great time to plant trees right
Okay.
now. They have time
Okay.
for the roots to get started before the hot summer comes along.
And that's the key, before the summer. I always thought it was a
is.
fall thing.
It is. Actually, fall's the best time.
Okay.
But spring is the second best. Well, George and I finally got off of the sofa, and we started a couple of weeks ago cutting down our ornamental grasses.
Okay.
And you know, those the pampas and the miscanthus. We got out the hedge clippers and we cut those down and took away the debris. And then we took the lawnmower and we cut down all of our ground covers and the mums, chastas.
And I noticed when my wife and I were walking through the neighborhood on Sunday afternoon, we noticed some of these with Bermuda grass yards that someone had kind of come in and sculpted cut the grass real low. Is this the time of year to do that?
That's the time to do that, because then after you get that
And
done,
why are we doing that, George?
because it warms the soil up a little quicker.
Okay.
And then too, if you have some weeds, this is a good time to put a pre-emergent down. And it's also a good time to use Roundup on your Bermuda because it's still dormant.
Okay.
And so...
Well, we noticed that on a few homes as we were doing our walk, that I go, boy, that looks kind of manicured so early. Then I noticed
Yes,
that
they
they
do
kind of cut the maybe dead stuff off as
yes.
well. Well, let's go back to the perennials real
Okay.
quick. You know, when we lived in Tulsa, we had this, we had a few azaleas. We had these beautiful crepe myrtles, big monster things, but we had creeping phlox, and they would just line the sidewalks. Is creeping phlox, is that a perennial?
It is a perennial, and it does well here in Oklahoma,
Okay.
in Enid. Yes, most of the perennials that I have are more like summer blooming. You know, I have the yarrow and the solidagos and the mums,
I love
asters.
these names.
And,
I have no idea what you're talking about,
it's
but
a
I
good
love the
time,
names.
It's a good time to cut down all of the debris that's on those perennials.
How
And
about
it's-
a black-eyed Susan?
Susans, yes.
Excuse me.
Cut all the debris off of that, and then you'll see new growth coming
in,
up.
Yes.
So is March 1 kind of the calendar date that people should have in their mind to start doing these
Well,
things?
this is an
Or is it the
unusual
temperature
year.
deal?
This is an unusual
Okay,
year. Everything's
okay.
early.
Yes, but usually March is the time according to our calendar, but you never know with this climate that we're having. We're about a month ahead of time this year, and things coming out. So like my vegetable gardens, I've already got onions planted, potatoes planted, radishes and spinach, but these are early season crops. So, but don't put out your tomatoes yet.
Okay.
It can freeze up to April 15th.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I remember some snow days around the 1st of April. It may be a freak snowstorm, but yeah, anything could happen in Oklahoma. George, let's go back to your vegetables for a little bit, which of course we expect a vegetable tray from you in a few months down the road.
Okay,
Come
but
to
not today.
Not today,
Yes.
no. But if somebody said, okay, you know, this year we're going to get a head start, or we're going to get this vegetable garden going. So here we are, 1st of March. What can a person do to get a vegetable garden started?
Well, you should already have your soil prepared.
Okay.
Okay, you start that early. And then go in there and till it well, and then start planting these early season crops. Spinach is a good time, radishes, and so on. It is also a good time if you like squash or cucumbers, start these. If you have a greenhouse, in the greenhouse. If you don't, start them in a sunny area of the house. And then that way, in May, you should probably wait till last of April, 1st of May to put them in the ground because they're warm season crops. And they don't, but you do have this plant already started. Another thing I would say, as soon as you can go to the green nurseries and buy your tomato plants now, get them home, transplant them into a bigger pot, and let them grow, and then you've got that advantage because you've got a better developed plant.
Now, I know both of you give back to the community. You're always involved in working. You're involved at Dillingham Gardens. There's a place at Wacomas that is new on your to-do list.
Yes, it is.
Buffalo Point.
Buffalo Point. You do things with the OSU Extension. And you probably need a few more things to do in your retirement life, correct?
Yes.
Just a few more things. What kind of fulfillment do you have with this giving back and taking care? Because when you go to Dillingham Gardens, it's just gorgeous. And you feel like you have a small part in preserving and kind of manicuring all that?
My ties are with that park because as a small child, I enjoyed going there, and my parents were pioneers, and so I guess I have that kind of a connection with that garden.
And when she was a senior in high school, they had that May Fete every spring, and so yes, I remember they used to have a big kind of an arbor with roses, and I was dating her when she was a senior, and we have a picture there at the garden right before the May Fete.
Boy, that would be a great picture to put on the screen right now
yes,
if we had it.
If we had it.
And you know, I
Next
have had some calls about roses, and it's okay to prune the roses now.
Okay.
Especially if you have knockouts, they're very, very forgiving.
Louise, you brought me some flowers for me to practice
I
or get
did.
going, the zinnias or whatever. Now, would you consider this is a perennial then?
Well, no, these are annuals.
Annuals,
These are
okay.
annuals. I just brought this
You can tell the master gardener that I am.
to tell everyone, don't forget to just go buy some seeds, inexpensive, and you can just throw them out and you'll have pretty colors and flowers this summer in your yard. Zinnias, cosmos, gomphrena.
Even into the fall.
Right.
Because your annuals will keep blooming until you have a freeze. And then after that, you can just kind of pull them out and, you'll have, we like to have some kind of color year round. And so we also plant evergreens. And then that gives you that greenery in the winter time.
Sure.
So it's not so drab.
George, last fall we talked a little bit about planting trees, and Louise mentioned that this morning that we can plant trees. But give us some trees that are hardy, that are great for Oklahoma in this tough climate.
You have oak trees that do well here, except the pin oak. And I've told Derek, I think it was Derek when we were talking, don't plant pin oaks because our soil's not acidic enough. I like the lacebark elm. I like the Chinese pistache. There are some maples that do quite well, except the silver maple. It's, the trash tree. And so...
The Bradford pears are pretty when they're young, but then when they age, they become a problem.
Yeah, and if ice hits them in the weight,
Aristocrat is a better variety.
And the nursery still, have these Bradford pears for sale. And, I say, get rid of them. Don't buy them.
One thing I might remind your audience is that on evergreens, I love evergreens, your junipers and spruce, but they do need to be sprayed with a chemical to prevent the bagworms. Right. So do that before June the 1st.
We've got 30 seconds, folks. I'm sorry our time is going so quick. I know on April 1st, there's a workshop. Can you tell us about it?
I can.
And I know there's a phone number that we're going to put on the screen.
Okay.
I think it's a 237 number. But tell us, Louise, about the...
Well, we are putting on a workshop April the 1st, and that's no joke. It's from 8 to noon, and it's $35. And you're going to learn about it's about keys to a great gardening. You're going to learn about vegetable gardening and attracting pollinators, and learn about keyhole gardening. That's a new trend in gardening. And it's going to be at Autry.
Okay.
And if you need more information, there'll be a phone number.
Okay.
And very quickly, I want to mention one more thing. We're going to have a new Master Gardener's class at the Extension Center this fall. And so if you're interested in that, get a hold and you'll put the number up for that.
And that's the 237 number?
1228.
Okay.
Yes.
Hold of the Master
So
Gardener.
do that.
Jenny Gwinnett is our new president. So
Okay,
we can get
very
hold
good.
of her.
Louise, George, it's always a pleasure. Thank you. You have a wealth of information.
It's fun.
We need to have you come back and give you a little bit more time to do all this. So, good morning, Enid. 7:51. There you have your marching orders. Get the garden going, and you heard it from these two experts.